Okay, people, today I'm going to talk about the Refuge Rock Massacre. It occurred in 1784 on August 13th or 14th. The dates vary depending on what calendar you use or whatever. But anyway, if it did occur on a Friday, it occurred on Friday the 13th. Because it was the 13th of Friday. It was August the 13th of 1784 was Friday the 13th. And anyway, I'll give you the story. A Russian fur trader by the name of Georgy Shelikov found his way to Alaska in the late 1700s. Russia was under Catherine the Great at that time, and he encountered some natives and demanded that they work for him. The natives, of course, said, "Fuck you." And of course, do you think that white supremacists, Russians are meant to conquer the world, Europeans are superior to everything and everyone else? Do you think he was just going to let the human rights of a few peaceful Aleut stand in the way of him getting richer than he already was? Of course not. So anyway, he loaded up his ships, got some cannons, got some men, 130 in all, and decided to go slaughter some people to make a point. Anyway, the Aleut took up refuge on Refuge Rock. This occurred in Alaska, by the way. Some people call it the Wounded Knee of Alaska. I call it Wounded Knee times 10, okay? Because anyway, what happened is they were betrayed. The Aleut were betrayed by one of their own. His name was Kashpak or something. He led the Russians around to a he told the Russians about a pathway that led to Refuge Rock, and when the tides receded, it became visible. And first the Russians bombarded Refuge Rock. Refuge Rock was only had only one exit, and it was really high up when the tides were receded. And the Russians pounded it with cannons, and they killed lots of people. When they stormed the rock, they fixed bayonets and started driving Aleut off a cliff. The Aleut off a cliff. There were thousands of people on that rock, and the estimated death toll is somewhere between 500 and 3,000. And not a Russian was killed. Let's compare that to Wounded Knee. Several U.S. soldiers were killed. The natives at Wounded Knee, the Lakota, they fought back. The Aleut didn't fight back. They were driven off a cliff like those Persians in that famous 300 scene. And for about 2 years, nobody would go near Refuge Rock because it just stank so bad because of all the corpses. And Shelikov later enslaved the remaining Aleut and took them as hostages, and they basically made them work for him. You know, they would go on sea otter hunts as far down as California, and they were in Alaska. Anyway, the massacre occurred on Kodiak Island, which is famous for its big bears and Dutch harbor of deadliest catch fame. But people have forgotten all about this massacre, and I thought I would take some time to educate the general public. Now, why is this massacre so forgotten? Probably because Russian America, or Russian Alaska, whatever you want to call it, doesn't exist anymore. It was sold to the United States shortly after the conclusion of the Civil War. And not only that, there's no real way that that native rights activists can claim victimhood for it, because the Russians are no longer in the picture in America, and they haven't been for well over 100 years, well, about 150 years. And in any case, another thing is that Alaskan natives, such as the Aleut, they tend to be they tend to be kind of the oddball of the group. Like Native Americans can get along with Maoris or indigenous peoples of Central or South America or wherever. But for some reason the Arctic dwellers are kind of the oddball of the group. I'm not sure why, but they are. Like they even have Native American or Alaskan natives. They're that divided, even officially speaking. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video on this terrible incident. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Peace out.